So our dogs have been getting along really well for the longest time, and all of a sudden, for the first time, we had a fight. Why? Where did that come from? They seem like such good friends. I'm Jack Cran from Peace of Mind Canine, behaviorist trainer in Dahlonega, Georgia. Nothing worse than a dog fight. Absolutely. Why does it happen? Could be for many reasons. Every circumstance, every situation is very different. What we want to keep in mind is that listening is a bond. It's not only your relationship with the dog, it is a listening relationship, a working relationship. So from the dog's point of view, they don't want to share. Dogs will start competing with each other really based on age or depending on how much time they've spent together. So if we think of 3 maturity stages, what happens is when a dog of any age is relocated, they will re-experience those stages. So if your dogs are new to each other at any age, in the beginning they may be fine, very tolerant, and very observant. And then they go through a stage of being very investigative, a little more inquisitive, a little more confident about taking their own space, to competing for hierarchy, to really testing boundaries and deciding, I'm here to stay. So in the book, The Affection Connection, if you read about the 3 maturity stages, critical socialization, fear stage, advanced fear stage, what happens is as a puppy, they go through those stages. 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. As an older dog relocated, they will re-experience those stages again. So maybe the dogs got along fine, then all of a sudden after about 8 months, then now 10 months, all of a sudden we had a fight. The thing is, you need to write down what happened, what were the details, where did this fight happen. Remember, it's all about a bond. If this is our place, if we always stay here and every night we're going to watch a little TV and I get on the couch and the dog is on the couch next to me. Now it's a process to allow another dog into that area. Even if the dogs are best friends playing in the yard all day long, that's a different relationship than being in what I call the intimate area. If I sit here and the dog always lays at my feet, having another dog up on the couch or laying at my feet is going to be a whole nother story. Even if those 2 dogs appear to be the best of friends all day long, now wait a minute, sleeping on the bed or being on the couch with me is a whole nother conversation, shall we say. As a matter of fact, after going through a process to get these 2 back together, they did not want to be on the couch. Individually, they wanted to get up on the couch. But once I join them on the couch, they don't want to be up here. Why? Because they're sharing an equality. Dogs live in competition for hierarchy in the pack. And now I'm forcing them to be equal. Hey, step here. There you go. Good dog. So what was the process? How do we get them to be friends again? We start by separating and using the leash. They're both on their leashes right now because the leash is a tool for training. So I start bringing them into a comfortable environment to share an environment individually. 2 people, 2 dogs, both on leash, so that they get used to the routine. We come in, we sit here. So they start getting comfortable being around each other. We individually work on basics, getting the dogs to respond to commands. So they'll change positions, they'll follow directions, sit down, stay, they'll do those things. Now they'll do those things individually. We have to get them to do those things together. In the teaching process, take one at a time, and we have a little work time, and the reward at the end of work time is playtime together. So we make their time together a reward. Once they're listening really well side by side, next step individually, once they're listening really well together or individually, now we're going to put them side by side. So I can take one guy and we go out and we heel and down and we come and we go, we drill commands, and we have a good obedience workout. Now we take the other one, we have a good obedience workout. Now you put them side by side and they don't want to follow those commands. Why? Because anytime the dog follows a command from you, no matter how basic it is, from the dog's perspective, it is submission. In other words, I gave up my freedom of choice to sit, so I'm being submissive. And they don't want the other dog to see them feeling or being submissive. So that's why they don't want to listen together. So now we work on it. We insist they have to sit shoulder to shoulder and ear to ear. They don't want to do that. They want to sit with one a little ahead, one a little behind, or they want to swing away. They don't want to be little bookends. So when we go through a period of time where we do this, we have to do everything together. Everybody sit, everybody down, everybody come. So now pack rivalry never goes away, but we get control over it. We set the hierarchy. We get it to subside. We control the hierarchy by getting the dogs to listen together, to listen side by side. So we equalize them. We put them on the same step, even though the reality is they will never be equal because dogs just don't think like that. Dogs are, in a pack, and in a pack, everyone has their place and their job. So we teach them to tolerate. If I was here with one dog and the other one came to join, I would not stop what I was doing. I wouldn't totally take my attention away from this dog. So one comes up, I'm here petting him, and now this one comes up. I'm going to keep my hand here, keep my attention here, and add the other dog. I let the other dog be included. So the important thing is the dog is an addition, not an intrusion. If I try to tell him to stay and now I go 100% over here, I don't think I'm liking that. But if I stay the same and include, now it's a little more tolerable. So we teach the dogs to get along. As you are interacting with one, you look at the other and praise and let them know you're a good dog, you're a good boy for tolerating your interaction with the other dog, you see? So it's all about teaching them to get along and going through a period of time where the dogs don't make their own choice. So you want to get off the couch? Not till I tell you. You're going to sit side by side. And now we heel outside and have them sit, and all done playtime. We keep the playtime very short in the beginning of this, and no toys for them to compete over. So they run, they sniff around, and very careful to set the boundaries. So the key is, if I see something I don't like, you see something you don't like. One dog puts his puts his paw up on the shoulder of the other dog. No, dominant, no. Start mouthing, we're running, and the dog wants to bite the leg. No, stop. You call them, direct them, get their attention. This is why we've taken the time to do the basics first, because this way when they're together, they're in the habit of turning and looking at you, when they hear your voice, when they hear certain sound, hey, whatever it is. Hey. So anyway, the point is we do some basic work individually, then side by side, we work them together, then we practice. We teach them to play together. We teach them to be around the house together. What we have to look for are things like doorways. If they meet in a doorway, or there can be a confrontation. If they're loose, let's say around the kitchen table, kitchen island, and one is going clockwise and the other one's going counterclockwise, then what happens is when they meet, confrontation. So those are the times and places that we wouldn't think about that could cause a little rift between the dogs. So what happens with aggression, your dogs have a fight, is you start to find it's going to escalate very quickly. The episodes start to happen more often and they get more and more intense. So you need to be on top of it right away, that you get right to work, get a professional to help you. And some cases you can turn it around, some cases you can't. And I have worked in many situations where we have been able to get the dogs to coexist and learn to tolerate each other. A lot depends age, temperament, and gender. Two males generally will get along better than two females. I've seen two females work, but two females will be more competitive. Unneutered males versus neutered males. All of those things come into play when it comes to getting the dogs to interact and coexist. So if you're bringing home a new dog, there has to be preparation. If I was getting a new dog, I would set everything up a week ahead of time. So the new dog bed, water bowl, food bowl, everything for the new dog is set up so the dog currently in the house doesn't get to use it, so they know something's coming, right? And then they're going to meet on neutral territory, ideally more than once just to see how they get along. The second time we'll have another playtime, and then your current dog gets to bring his new friend home. So again, it's an addition, not an intrusion. And those are the steps we take to get the dogs to coexist. And it goes really well, but you never let your guard down, because it could be a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and something unexpected triggers things again. So it's a full-time job to be aware that the dogs are going to get along. First, we want to make sure we have verbal control, and then we teach them how to coexist. I hope that helps. You can find all this and more in the book, The Affection Connection, on Amazon, paperback or ebook, and keep your questions coming. I love getting your questions in the comments. I hope you find this helpful. You can always reach me through my website, peaceofmindcanine.com. So please follow and subscribe to the page, and I'm here to help you any way I can. All right, you guys, on to the next step. Bye for now.